Hello, in this video we will be explaining the tower construction process. Tower construction can be found on page 124 to 127 of the Bridge Builder Construction Manual. As always, you should reference the manual in the field for more information. The steps during the construction process will be to lay out the tower, prepare our materials and bend the rebar, construct the base level, the formwork, place our rebar cage, and place the walkway concrete fill. Then we'll construct our tower formwork. We'll fill the tower at least 24 hours after constructing the formwork. Then we'll embed our tower saddle wheel and form the saddle, as well as place the walkway hump and embed the cable guides. The necessary materials for this part of the process will be cement, sand, water, and gravel as well, which I will add to this list, CMU or bricks, whichever you're using for formwork, cables, tubing, reinforcing bar, saddle wheels, and tie wire. The recommended tools are shovels, buckets, circular saw or angle grinder, masonry tools, as well as a level, plumb bob, and string line, construction square, measuring tape, something for cutting and bending rebar, spray paint, and wire cutters. The PPE you should be wearing during this process should be the normal PPE you're wearing this whole time. In addition, during rebar prep and assembly, make sure to be wearing gloves, but not if you're using the angle grinder so they don't get caught, goggles or safety glasses, hearing protection, and then long pants and steel-toed boots. During the cage movement, you should be wearing all of the above and make sure that your hard hat is well secured. First, we'll want to lay out the tower footprint on top of the final tier, measuring from hard points such as already built foundations or tiers, and using the string center line and a plumb bob to make sure we're centered and square. Once we have our measurements, here in the video, you can see the masons are using a red chalk line to lay out the footprint of the tower on top of the final third tier. Preparing the rebar cage can be done after or concurrently with preparing the tower plan on top of the final tier. What you want to do is take the already bent stirrups and alternate the bent corner. There should be 4 corners and 4 stirrups, so one for each side, as you slide them over the U-shaped bars. You'll use tie wire to hold them into place. It's helpful to mark beforehand where the stirrups will be resting with a Sharpie marker or any sort of string you may have. You want to double check the dimensions to make sure the tower rebar stirrups are in the correct long direction and short direction. And finally, you'll carry the rebar cage to the tower and place it inside the formwork when that is complete. The tower is beginning. We're using fishing line to mark the perimeter and bricks, single bricks in each corner with grout or with concrete are used to hold the fishing line in place. That marks the perimeter of what the tower footprint will be. 1/3 bag of cement and 1 wheelbarrow of fine sand. So, ¿agua necesitas? ¿Hay agua aquí? Oh. So, we are doing 2 layers, forgetting the name right now, technically, of brick, ladrillo. That should be 20 centimeters, and that will be our stage 1 in our tower construction drawings. The formwork for our stage 1 pour. We have the rebar cage propped and set in the center of the tower, and the mix we're adding here is stronger and is a 1 wheelbarrow of the sand and gravel mix to 3 bags of cement. The brick formwork is being constructed. cage is. This will go 120 centimeters from the top tier to cover 7.57 meters above the rebar cage. The masons are using levels, this iron bar or tin bar, filling the inside with grout, and then cleaning the outside with a special tool. They also use a plumb bob around the outside to make sure the wall is plumb. And then the first brick that's set on the wall is set plumb with the plumb bob, and then this tin bar is used to make sure everything is in line with that brick. Bricks are broken just with these scooping tools in order to be shaped to size. Hence where some contingency is needed in the bricks. It's not always going to be exact.
So we're here doing the mix for the towers. It's 3 parts gravel to 2 parts sand, fine sand, and 1 bag of cement. We first mixed it this way, then we're going to mix it back so it's all together. After that we'll make a volcano, just like our other mixes, and fill it with water, and then mix it until it's nice and workable.
So we're passing 3 buckets, alternating towers, 3 buckets of mix, 3 buckets of mix after wetting the bottom. Okay, and so at this point we're filling up the tower, and I am using this stick as a ramrod for getting any entrained air out of the concrete as we pour it into here. And I am keeping track, counting bricks to make sure that we're not filling one tower faster than the other. We're trying to fill them both at the same time so that they dry at the same time. We leveled the tire rims to each other, and then measured that distance down to be 154.5 centimeters. 3.5 come from the fact that the cable actually sits lower in the rim, 3.5 centimeters lower, and 1 centimeter extra to account for the settling of the concrete over time here. And that's within tolerance of 150 centimeters. If it ends up being half a centimeter off, that's all right. Just making sure everything's plumb, level, square before we let it set. And then we'll form the saddle shape. After forming the majority of the saddle shape with a stronger concrete fill, we'll use really fine sand, even filtering the fine sand that was delivered on site to form the nice, clean aesthetic of the tower saddle. Finally, in a similar fashion, we'll form the walkway saddle, and we'll embed the small pieces of rebar that serve as cable guides before taking our final quality control photos. We want to do our walkway last because we'll be stepping all over this area when doing the tower saddle, so it'll be nice and cleaner if we do this as the final item before eventually taking our quality control photos, following the quality control forms, and laminated cards. And thank you for watching this video on tower construction. As mentioned, you can always find more information in the Bridge Builder Manual or on the Bridge EDU course.